Hey y'all, we're taking a look at the digestive system. We're going to focus on the last portion of the digestive tract, the large intestines and the rectum and anus. So let's take a look over here. Just a recap of where we came from. After we swallowed food, it went down our esophagus, went to the stomach. Here's the stomach, esophagus, stomach. From the stomach, we go to the duodenum. Right here. Duodenum, jejunum, and ileum, and somewhere mixed up in this mess. And then from the ileum, this is the last part of the ileum, we make it to the large intestines, which should be connected like that. Large intestines. So it's large because it's larger in diameter. It's not large because of its length. It's actually shorter in length. Because at this point, we've absorbed most of the nutrients. Now we just kind of want to compact the feces and also feed some probacteria so that they can give us some additional vitamins, like vitamin K, which is important for clotting. Anyways, main reason is that we want to compact the feces and absorb water. So, quick overview, what are the different parts of the large intestines? The colon, you've got your initial part here. This is the cecum, and you have a little extension of it, the appendix, the vermiform appendix, right there. From the ileum to the cecum, there's an ileocecal valve right there, ileocecal valve, and you can see the appendix right there. Cecum, ascending colon, transverse colon, it goes across. Transverse colon, descending colon, with this funny bend, that's the sigmoid colon, and then the rectum and anus are deeper in there, and I'll show that later. What you'll notice about the ascending and descending colon is that they're kind of behind. So they are retroperitoneal. The other parts are peritoneal organs, intraperitoneal. What you'll also notice is that you've got a bunch of these pouches. Those pouches are called haustra. They're there just to help move things along, help store the compacting feces of the waste. And what's causing this is this linear muscle, this muscle that's lining the entire length of the large intestines. This muscle is known as the teniae coli. Teniae, there we go, Teniae coli, C-O-L-I, teniae coli. That muscle, think of this as like a drawstring. If you pull on it, it kind of cinches things up, and that's one reason why you get these bulges, but also to kind of store the feces as it goes along. So this muscle helps push the compacting feces along, and we store it in the rectum and push it out of the anus. All right. Once again, we have the appendix here. That also acts as a lymphatic organ, but also sometimes gets infected, and that's no fun. So you have to get that removed. I've had it removed. One of the worst pains of my life. Yay. You go from the ileum to the cecum. Some of it goes to the appendix, maybe, but otherwise, from the cecum, it goes up. It ascends the ascending colon. Gets pushed along the transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon to the rectum. Once again, the whole purpose of the large intestines, the major purposes of large intestines are to absorb water, to compact the feces, and also any leftover nutrients that might be good for bacteria that live in our intestines. The bacteria can use it, and it's a symbiotic relationship, because when they digest those nutrients, they give us nutrients, like certain types of vitamins. Once we're done with all that food, now waste, we get to the rectum. Here is the rectum. This is a female model. This is representing the urinary bladder. You can see, urinary bladder. This is the uterus and the uterine tubes. We got to look deeper than that. So you can see the rectum right there. So this is showing the rectum and the anus. So that's posterior to the urethra. Here's the urinary bladder, urethra. This is the vagina and the uterus. We'll get to all that later. But posterior to all that, you've got your rectum and anus. Now, this is where we're starting to transition from simple columnar. Most of the lower digestive tract, most of the intestines were simple columnar. We're transitioning from simple columnar to non-keratinized stratified squamous. Still mucous membrane, but just back to non-keratinized stratified squamous, much like the esophagus, because there's lots of abrasion here as we swallow food. There's lots of abrasion here as we're defecating, as we're eliminating drier, not too dry, at least we're not to have it try to be too dry, otherwise you're constipated, but somewhat dry feces. There's a lot of mucus too production, so there are lots of goblet cells in the intestines because you want to make sure that feces is lubricated. And in the anus, there are two sphincters, like right next to each other. One's called the internal anal sphincter, the other is the external anal sphincter. The internal anal sphincter is involuntarily controlled. The autonomic nervous system controls it. Specifically, it's a parasympathetic reflex that controls the internal anal sphincter. The external anal sphincter is controlled by us, so we can, decide when we want to defecate. Babies have not really worked on that muscle yet, so which is why they just go whenever they feel any stretch here. External anal sphincter is skeletal muscle, not smooth muscle, and we again can control that on command. All right, I believe those are all the different parts of the. Oh, you know what? There's one more thing I want to mention. As long as I'm here, I've mentioned this in another video, but this last part is representing the large intestines very generally. Same basic layers. We've got our mucosa layer, mostly simple columnar. Lamina propria of the mucosa, muscularis mucosa of the mucosa, and then here's submucosa, which is also areolar, like the lamina propria, areolar connective tissue. Here we have muscularis externa, and then depending on where we are in the intestines, it's either serosa or adventitia. These are not villi. There are villi in the small intestines. There are not any villi in the large intestines. This model is for the small intestines, and this is what a villus looks like. It comes out into the lumen. This is a crypt. It goes in deeper into the tissue. So you don't have villi in the large intestines, you do have crypts. You have production of mucus from goblet cells and mitosis of these cells because these cells will be dying from all the abrasion. So they do have crypts, they don't have villi. Lots of crypts in the large intestines. All right, that covers it. Thanks for watching. Please let me know if you have questions. Take care.